Hi, my name's Henry. I'm an incoming BCG consultant and founder of the Consulting Axis, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the why consulting case interview question. But why is this question so important that it needs its own very video? And that is because first impressions in interviews and case interviews specifically are so important. And this could be one of the first questions they ask you. So you need to make sure that they see that you firstly understand what a consultant does, and this is something that would interest you. And that's why it's so surprising that almost everyone underprepares for it. They focus hundreds of hours on preparing for the case study. And don't get me wrong, that's really important. But they might spend 10 minutes before their interviews thinking of what they would say to the why consulting question. And that is simply not long enough. So in this video, I'm going to give you 2 great ways to how you can structure your answer, and I'll also share with you the exact reasons why I wanted to go into consulting, and this is what I said in my interviews. But before we go over all of that, I'd like to give you some general tips that are good no matter how you structure your answer. So my first general tip is enthusiasm. Now this is something I'm a really big believer in, and why? This is because they simply won't believe you if you're not enthusiastic. So if you're boring and monotone, even if the reasons you say are really good, they won't truly believe what you're saying. For example, if you say your answer like this, oh, I like consulting because of this and this, or maybe this, even if those reasons are really good, they won't really believe you if you're talking like that. So make sure you smile, use hand gestures, anything to help you be far more engaging. And this is because this will help them remember you. So for example, when they're trying to pick candidates from, a massive group, they'll be like, oh, that person, yes, they really wanted to get into consulting. They will remember you because you engage them a lot more. Now, secondly, when you're preparing, just keep an eye on time. Your answer should last for around a minute long, and the more you go on, the less they'll engage and the less they'll remember you. So when you're preparing, just make sure it's around that minute mark. And finally, it's good to talk about consulting and non-consulting experiences. The consulting experiences are really good because doing this will make them show that you are interested in consulting. You've had a long-lasting interest, not just something you've, let's apply to consulting. But the non-consulting experiences are really good to say because you can say something like, I really enjoyed aspects of them, but I felt they lacked something that I know consulting doesn't. So this is a good segue into consulting. Now, like I said, in this video, I'm going to give you 2 great ways to structure your answer. And the first one is to tell them a story. Now, telling your interviewer a story will help them connect with you on a personal level, and this will help them remember you. And like I've said, that is really important. Now, when I say tell them a story, what I mean is tell them the first time that you realised consulting was right for you. So something like, I remember going to my university's introduction to consulting event, and one of the panelists said, if you love solving problems and you love building relationships with people, then consulting is right for you. And this really connected with me because I love solving problems and I love building relationships with people. Now, something I do want to say is try and make it as specific to you as possible. But also with my previous answer, you can't just stop there and hope that they believe that you love solving problems and you love talking to people. You need to give evidence. When in your life have you shown that you love solving problems and you love talking to people and that you're good at those 2 things? Now, if you're not sure about telling them a story and you don't think it's right for you, that's absolutely fine. You can use my second structure, which is simply to list your reasons. Now, when I say list reasons, I don't mean saying something like, oh, I like consulting because of this, this, and this. You've got to give your reason and then the evidence to why that thing interests you. Now, in terms of what reasons you should say, it's good to talk about 2 to 3 reasons that truly interest you. If they don't interest you, then it won't come over very genuinely. But also make sure to pick the reasons that you have good evidence to back up. So for example, let's say you play team sport for your country, which is incredible. Make sure teamwork is one of your reasons because you've got some incredible, impressive evidence to back that up. So some examples of reasons could include that you want to have an impact in whatever you do. And that in consulting, you might be advising some of the biggest companies in the world on what they should do and potentially even help them implement your solutions. Or maybe you love public speaking and presenting, and you know that in consulting, you could have the opportunity to present solutions to clients, and this is something that would really interest you. Now, some examples of things you definitely shouldn't say are things like that you want to make lots of money and you know that consultants are paid quite well, or you want the perks of being a consultant, so potentially going on business class flights, for example. Now, when you've got your reasons to why consulting interests you, you need to think about the evidence. And there are two things to think about when you're picking the experiences. Make sure they clearly show the interest or skill that you're trying to show them, and they're impressive. You want your interviewer to remember you. So if you've got some really impressive experiences, then make sure you say them as your evidence. And when you've done this loop of reason, evidence 2 or 3 times, you need to give a short, simple conclusion. So something like, I truly believe from all my research and my experiences, I can really see myself thriving in consulting and enjoying it as well. So now that I've shown you the 2 ways in which you can answer the why consulting question, I thought I'd share with you the real reasons why I wanted to go in consulting, so you've got an idea of what an answer might look like. So for me, consulting has the best mixture of technical skills, but also a big client-facing aspect. Now, in terms of the technical skills, I studied mathematics at university, which taught me to logically break down complex problems in order to solve them. And I found that I can translate this skill into solving business problems, which is both quite interesting, but also incredibly useful. Now, in terms of the client-facing aspect, I think I'm quite friendly, I like talking to people. Also at university, I was actually a project leader on some consulting projects, and I always found the brainstorming sessions and meetings with clients incredibly enjoyable. And also from my non-consulting experiences, I've just found that I enjoyed aspects of them, but they lack that sort of teamwork aspect that I really want in my career, and I know that consulting has this. And therefore, because I think this mixture is the best in consulting, I really want to go into a career in consulting. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful, and if you did, then please leave a like, it really does help, and subscribe if you haven't already. But for now, I wish you all the very best of luck with your consulting case interviews.